Welcome to the weather briefing. This is a look at the drought monitoring across California, and we'll also take a look at the ENSO conditions in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, and of course a look at the precipitation so far this season. This video is about 8 minutes long. We hope you find it useful. This is Alex Tardy, meteorologist here at National Weather Service, San Diego. All right, in the short term, we are looking at wind developing and continuing, and a significant warm-up in temperatures. So after a recent storm, here's a look at the temperatures for Sunday on the right-hand side. Widespread temperatures getting in the 80s for the valleys and even the coast. And take a look at the wind speeds on the left. Those will be the onshore flow winds that'll turn into offshore flow winds. The windiest spots indicated in the orange where gusts will exceed 40 miles per hour. You can see if your area is included in there. Of course, this offshore flow developing, this Santa Ana wind developing on Friday will lead to the warm-up for this weekend. All right, what's the state of the drought? Here's the drought conditions on the latest drought monitor. As of March 6, 2014, we can see extreme drought across much of California in the red. The deep red is the D4 region, the exceptional drought. So those are the areas that have seen the least amount of precipitation in the past 6 months, 1 year, and really 2 years, and the most impact from that lack of precipitation. In Southern California, most of our coast is in the red, extreme drought, and then severe drought for areas just inland, including the mountains and deserts. All right, what has happened so far? December through February, precipitation. During the heart of the winter, it looks like San Diego came in 4th place for one of the driest December through February periods. Only about 1.5 inches of rainfall. And of course, most of that came in the end of February with our most recent storm. What's it look like at other locations? Well, starting off with Lindbergh, 0.27, that's the month of February, still below normal. Riverside only 1 inch, almost 2 inches below normal still for the month. And same story with John Wayne, Santa Ana. Let's look back since July of last summer. San Diego is doing the best at 4.5 inches, but still well below normal. Over 7 inches below normal, both Riverside and John Wayne. So you can kind of see the broken record in this dry spell. Even though we do get periods of rain and a couple storms, the overall trend, whether it's 1 month, 6 months, or even 2 years, continues to be a deficit in precipitation. All right, let's take a look what happened most recently. The past 7 days across California. You can see the northern part and the southern part of the state has done quite well. Take a look at the northern Sierra Nevada and Shasta region. Some places exceeded 10 inches of rain. Same was the case as you go down the coast, all the way from Santa Barbara across the San Bernardino region in the bright red shaded areas. Most of the coast down in Southern California also received a lot of rainfall, as we have been discussing. 2 to 3 inches, pretty widespread, with locally up to 4 inches. So that's the past 7 days. All right, how are reservoirs doing? This is a big impact on how severe our drought is. Our reservoirs have made some progress, but still capacity is low, and when you compare it to normal, only 50 to 60% of where it should be for this time of the year for our large reservoirs in Northern California. But we have made some progress with the recent rainfall that we just showed. All right, how about the past 60 days and since October 1st? Well, believe it or not, some places in California, mainly in the northern areas and our mountain areas, have seen near normal precipitation. But by far and large, most of the state, the Central Valley, the coast, Southern California, is quite a bit below normal. And it looks like we're ranging in the category of 25 to 50% of normal. No matter how you look at it, if you look at the past 60 days or you look at it since the start of the wet season in October, a lot of the middle range orange showing up. Let's take a look at the lower 48 of the United States. We've heard a lot about the cold weather, and it has been cold. When you average the winter, December through February, take a look at how cold it's been, significantly below normal for the Great Lakes and down towards the Ohio Valley. Then on the flip side, look at the southwest and really most of California, much above normal as this persistent pattern has lingered through the winter. What is this pattern? This pattern basically is an upper level ridge of high pressure that's been anchored from southern Alaska all the way down the west coast. This is looking at the upper levels and not the surface high pressure that you might often see sometimes. The importance of this is it greatly impacts the storm track as shown here in red. Storms go up and over and down, miss most of California, if not all, carve across the northern Rockies and then across the Great Lakes region, tapping in and allowing that cold air to spill in. So this pattern here, the only way to break it when it's this persistent is see something to come underneath the ridge of high pressure. That's what we saw last week. All right, let's take a look at sea surface temperatures. There's been some recent talk about warming of the equatorial Pacific Ocean as shown here. These are current conditions or an average of the past week. We see some warming in the western Pacific and areas below normal in the eastern Pacific. Overall, we're right around neutral. But the forecast for ENSO calls for warming to accelerate and continue this spring right into the summer where it might level off. As shown here, the consensus of all these dynamical forecast models and statistical models that look back at past trends and historical records shows us warming into the lower part of the warm phase or the El Nino. All right, but what strength of El Nino are we expecting? Are we expecting a strong El Nino that might have a significant impact on the jet stream in California for the upcoming summer and winter? Or are we expecting a weak one? At this time, we don't know. There's just not enough information that we have available. But these are examples of some of the various El Niños. Some of the historically large ones are shown in the upper left. These are sea surface temperatures over the equatorial ocean and departure from normal. So the bright red is much above normal. One thing we have to caution, when we look at precipitation and when we look at different El Nino strengths, typically a weak to moderate El Nino. Upper left, 2004, 2005, very wet, especially for Southern California. On the flip side, 2006, 2007, a slightly stronger El Nino, and California did not fare well with precipitation. And another example, when we exited the drought of 76, 77 that we've been comparing this year to, we went into a very wet year. Both of those years happened to be on the weak side, but they were an El Nino or above normal sea surface temperatures. The difference in the precipitation is striking. So there's other mechanisms that are going on besides just purely driven by sea surface temperatures in the equatorial ocean. Okay, so what's the outlook? Well, we'll take a look out in the spring, March through May. Still, when you average all the months together, the 3-month period, we're expecting below normal precipitation for at least parts of California and really most of the West, above normal temperatures. That's been the trend of this winter, and on this latest forecast, it's not expected to break as we carry into the spring.